Hi, thank you for watching. My name is Vanessa Vink and I call myself a personal energizer. I am a reader and a healer and more. And I would love to give you some tips in this video to stay high vibe in challenging times. The world is captivated by something that is not visible to the naked eye, but it put everything on hold. Because it is so elusive, many people find it anxious. I love to do my part to ensure that you stay more high vibe. Fear is a super low vibrating emotion. I can tell you that does not help in difficult times. The same situation looks very different if you perceive it from love or from fear. There are, of course, very crazy times right now, and there's a lot of speculating about where, what, why, whatever. For me, the most important thing is, what do you do with it? Do you get into fight, flight, or freeze mode, or do you keep your high vibe no matter what happens? You choose. It is also somewhat is the glass half full or half empty principle. Well, the glass is flooding for me, always. Even at these times, I use what I have to enrich myself in terms of knowledge, gifts, immune system, and when I'm in the what can I do to help mode, there is no room for stress at all. Funnily enough, I learned this from my mother, who was a flight attendant at KLM half a century ago. Now, I know her as someone who does not easily seek out exciting situations, so I asked her once, "Mom, weren't you scared out there in the air with all the turbulence and stuff?" And she replied that it was absolutely not the case because she had a job to do, and that was to take care of the passengers. Beautiful, right? When you step into the role of a helper, you do not only help the other person, but you also help yourself. Then there is no room for fear. Undoubtedly, all staff right now who are working in hospitals and the police and the fire brigade, etc., who risk their lives to save people, they have the same thing. Unfortunately, they get now their appreciation for their work, which, by the way, they deserve. My way of helping is what I communicate to the outside world and what I can do with my clients. I make sure that people can get closer to their own intuition, their own information, so that they can come up with answers themselves. As a light beacon, I see it as my job to keep the vibration high in myself so that I can be there for whom my message resonates. So I would like it if you join me in this in the hope that you can increase your frequency. Especially for this, I also put on my golden shirt because gold is the highest vibration. And there's always enough heaviness already in the world, and darkness. So I do not participate with that. So let's go. Okay. First of all, I would like to explain something about the fear that is now going around. Not only is it scared because people's current situation has suddenly changed, but there is also a collective fear. By this, I mean that one can all join in on something that's energetically in the air. You could almost think of some form of programming. It then appears to be yours. And that fear is not only of the current situation, the fear can also be from previous situations that do not take place in the now. You don't just have to explain that in the woo-woo way. Epigenetics has already shown that your DNA contains information that can be traced back to 14 generations. That information also contains emotions. If your ancestors haven't cleaned up their shit, they left it for you to deal with. So today's fear can also trigger ancestral fear that just happened still to be tagging along in your DNA. Well, that's great, right? There's also a non-scientifically variable component, and you can decide for yourself whether you're open to it or not, and that's previous life energy. If panic comes from a previous life that has not been completely cleared up, then you still carry it with you. When the situation with panic arises in your current life, the old panic also is shaken up. So that's double up. Fear pushes you out of the driver's seat, and it's your worst advisor. So I would like to give you some tips to help you in these uncertain times. My first tip are important to everyone, but almost vital for highly sensitive people amongst us. And if you felt that you wanted to watch this video, I bet you're one of them. So, and it's also for highly empathic people, and therefore they feel way more than the average sensitive person. So this tip is really for you. By the way, if you don't know what that is, just look up empath and see if it resonates. If you're an empath, for example, you quickly pick up on the atmosphere in the room when you enter, and you can also very well feel how another person feels. That's fine in many ways unless you pick up too much. And that is why I always teach people to ask the following crucial question when it gets too much for them. And that question is it mine? With this very simple question, you usually immediately know whether the answer is yes or no. If it is not yours, then you should make sure you clean things up. For example, by cutting energetic cords, or at least make a distinction between yourself and the other. In times like this, that is smart to do anyway, because you don't have to carry the shitload of the whole world. So I would like to give you a simple but effective exercise to ensure you that you can make the desired distinction. First, notice where all that information comes in. Is it in your belly, in your heart, in your head? And then put your heart on it. Hand on it, sorry. Let's say it's in your heart. And imagine that you're writing your first and your last name and the date of that day on that spot. Pimp it however you want it. See that you're writing it in gold, or put stickers on it, or whatever. As long as you understand that you are this and that your feelings are allowed to be there, but that which is not yours may disappear. With your name and the date of the day, you do two things. You put the situation in the now, and you clearly indicate what you are, who you are in the now. Thus, there is a clear dividing line between you in the now and the other, regardless of which timeline. The second tip is about grounding. To explain what this is, I use the example of a plant. If a plant is simply comfortable in the soil with its roots, then the plant is very well grounded. If somebody suddenly jerks that plant out of the ground, the plant's like, whoa, what's happening? How should I get my nutrition now? And where do I belong? And that is what fear does. A shock reaction does something violent with your energy system. Your aura can then look energetically like Marilyn Monroe's dress when it went up, while she was standing above that air vent. Your aura literally shoots up, and therefore your roots are hanging above the ground, and that feels anxious. It is then important to regain feeling with the earth. You can ground in different ways. Of course, you can do that energetically, but if you do not know how to do that, it also helps to walk around outside on the grass with your bare feet. Without shoes, you can literally make contact with the earth again. If you cannot or should not go outside, you can also place your bare feet in a bucket with warm water with sea salt. Also walk indoors without shoes. Eating products that come from the earth, such as carrots or potatoes, also help. All fruits and vegetables that have connected to the soil rather than grown in a greenhouse or something are good. You are what you eat. If you eat to get support, choose fresh, healthy, unprocessed foods that feel good in your body. I would not recommend animal food that has been stressed the animal that has been stressed, because you probably have enough stress in your body already. So choose organic meat or eat vegetarian. Another good thing is to have massage. That brings you back into your body. A foot massage can even be enough. Really taking time for yourself again gives you more space to be, which also gives you more feeling with your body. If you can, visualize during a meditation, guided or not, how you can make an energetic connection with the earth. There are enough meditations on the internet for this. If you are a bit more trained in this, you can see the roots from your tailbone and the soles of your feet go deep into the earth. And you can even see on which color you want to ground that particular day. If you're open to an amazing way to energetically ground, then I would like to tell you the story about the client I once had in my practice a long time ago. She was so anxious that I received a very clear instruction from up there during the session with her. I was allowed to help her in a beautiful way. I was shown that I could place her energetically in the tree network. I didn't know it existed then, but I did it. And I was shown that there is a worldwide tree network where trees can communicate with each other because their roots reach so far into the ground. And then I thought, well, if I tell this to anyone, they'll probably think I'm crazy, right? But guess what happened? A few years later, I saw an article that stated that it is scientifically proven that trees can communicate with each other worldwide. Wow! Trees also help each other by giving energy to the weaker trees. So if you need a super strong grounding, then you can go to a tree and stand against it and ask for help. Nowadays, it is completely legit to stand against a tree without people thinking that you're completely cuckoo. And if you can't go outside, ask the nearest tree if you can get energetic help with your grounding. Let's see what happens, and then be thankful for the help you got. The third tip is that you can also reprogram yourself. Grab a pen and paper. Yes, very old school, and sit down. For example, in a difficult time, you can ask yourself, what is going on? And then you start writing. Write until you're completely finished. Don't stop and reading back and then go move again. Just go on until you're completely written everything down, because then otherwise your mind will go into... and then when you're finished, then you look back and you see what you've put down. Probably gives you more clarity than you think. If it still doesn't work and you're still in a bad place, you can also ask yourself every day the question, how can this problem best be solved? And you can define the problem. Even if your mind doesn't know it, your system will still look for a solution to be able to answer that question, because you keep asking the same question. With this help request, you automatically call in your team of guides and guardian angels. Yes, you got them too. Who will only really get started when they're asked for. So please trust the help that is there. Let go of how you think the solution should look, because maybe up there can think of a way better solution than you came up with in your mind. Show your gratitude again and be in awe afterwards about the results. These tips are always good and quick to use. I hope it helps you to stay a bit calmer with yourself in challenging times, because if you're less in the emotion, you can also look clearer and therefore better use your intuition so that you can make decisions that serve you more easily. I send you all love and light. Thank you for watching.